Council meeting order December 19th, 2017. We got a blessing.
Father, thank you for the city of St. John. We pray for those in leadership in this community. Give those here in attendance the wisdom to make decisions for the betterment of the St. John community. Help the discussions between the council members to be direct and yet kind. Lead us and guide us into the new year. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Any additions to the agenda? Any citizen comments? Consent agenda, approving minutes from the regular council meeting December 5th, 2017, and appropriation ordinance 1219-2017, an amount of $72,208.53.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All in favor? Passes 4-0. Department heads. Lisa, looks like you're top of the list here.
The safe routes to school, we got the paperwork turned in. It should start after the first of the year. Hiring an engineer will be the first thing on the agenda there. And the TEEP grant, they've been out and they did their study, but we don't have their report back in yet. Heroes grant, we completed everything in that $25,000 grant. Now Carolyn is going to go ahead and apply for the $60,000. The money's not in the bank, but she's put the application in for that. And then Jamie, when the Golden Belt grant came up, she called and wanted me to do something for a splash pad. And we hadn't talked about that at the city council meeting, and so I went ahead and turned it in and requested $22,000 approximately. And they wrote, I didn't think they would be interested really, but they wrote back and they said that if that was something that we wanted to pursue, we could put together a meeting with the council, South Central Community Foundation and them, and they'd like to see that happen. And so if you guys are interested in a splash pad, we can go forward. If you're not interested in it, you don't have to do anything. They are having trouble with the pool, and I'm not finding any funding to fix the pool. And so this is just something alternative to do. So whatever you'd like to do there. And then the housing grant, we talked about those last summer, and LaDonna said she'd contracted Golden Belt Development to do the pre-assessment of the county, where they had to go around house to house. Do you remember that? And they said they don't do those, and that they've never done those, and that we have to do those ourselves. And so, if we want to go ahead with that housing grant in March, then we'll need to go ahead and do that ourselves. And I'm going to look back into that and see when those are due, and I'll come back with you for that. Okay, any questions or thoughts?
Like, how much would the splash pad be? Lisa, do you have any idea?
Well, it was really last minute. And so all the little things that you set around and the little things that splash up, they came to about $22,000, but you'd still have to do I think it'll cost another maybe $15,000 to put in the flooring around it. And I don't know, I don't know if they're thinking they do half of it and then South Central would do half. I can get if you decide, she thought that area of grass at the pool, have you measured that, was where the splash pad would go. And so that was the area that I called the splash people about. But we could get, free, we could get a bid on it and then, talk about it some more if it's something you're interested in. And if you're not, that's fine too.
So you don't really know if South Central, the foundation, will donate the whole project or really
they must know something. They must know something to want to have a meeting with them. Okay. I think they've worked together on the splash pad at Ellenwood, and then there's one at Pinehurst also.
Okay.
So.
I think it'd be a good idea to meet with somebody if they're willing to pay. Need to figure out what they've done in the past, I think. Look into it.
I'm fine with looking into it.
Okay, I'll do that. Bring something back to you.
Anybody else have any questions for Lisa? Lisa, Jamie visited with me the other night, and she asked me some questions that I couldn't answer.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to ask you, because I think you can probably answer them.
Okay.
She was visiting about, a little bit about the Cornwall Fund.
I can't answer that
You
question.
can't? Who does she
The
need to talk
bank
to?
had, well, it used to be, I asked Jonna about it, and she said it used to be in the front of the file, whatever file, I don't know, that it had all the rules on it. But she said the bank has a copy of that.
Okay. But you don't,
I
that's the
don't
only
know.
copy?
I could get a copy, but I don't, I mean, I could probably get a copy from the bank, but I don't have it.
Okay, but the bank's got a copy?
Bank
Okay.
has a copy.
And she asked me, how long has that been around?
There's one Lenore and Melba died, I think.
And that would have been Jack Cornwell's?
It's his brother's two old maid sisters. Well, I guess Melba wasn't an old maid, just Lenore was.
Okay.
But they
Make a
didn't
note
have
of
any
that.
children, and so they left their money to K-State and the city and the library.
Well, what the question was, she was wanting to look into buying some of these bouncy things for kids. And I don't really know what she's talking about, but she asked me if that could be taken out of the Cornwall Fund
Yeah,
for the Cornwall Park. And I said, I can't answer that, but I said, I'll ask Lisa.
yeah, I can't answer it either.
Okay.
Sorry.
You'll have to do some checking on that, Pam. Thank you, Lisa.
Have her talk to the insurance company before she buys anything like that.
I think
Make
she
a note,
has.
insurance.
I think she did.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Lisa? Police Chief, Adam?
The only thing I've got, I want to talk to you about vehicles. The 2013 Dodge truck, we have had numerous issues. We are having more issues now. We've had the entire passenger headlight assembly replaced in that twice, and we are still running in. I don't know if there's a short, what's going on with it. Basically, you can get out sometimes and bang on the headlight, it'll come back on. The other night, Charlie was driving, and he went by me. He stopped at the stop sign. The headlight went off. He hit the gas to go again. It came back on. So there's a couple options I think we could look at. After the first of the year, I should have right around $22,000 in capital outlay, which would go, if we could find a decent enough deal, would pretty much pay cash for something new. But before I started soliciting bids and stuff like that, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts. We have the 2001 Chevy that we just kind of use to move around vehicles for animals and stuff like that. We could put that up for sealed bid, trade it in on something, and move that Dodge into the spot of where that Chevy is, and essentially take the equipment and everything, and it's still good. So we could remove that and put it in a new vehicle. We could trade off the Dodge if we thought we would get a better deal that way. Either way, trading one of them off would put us in a position to pay cash for another vehicle. So I just kind of want to, for whatever reason, the two Dodge trucks we've had have just really milked us to death with issues. It's only got, I think it's turning just about over 65,000 miles. But we've put a lot of money into it.
Obviously, that's out of warranty.
Some of it is, some of it's not. The motor, obviously the powertrain and stuff like that, the issues that we had with the tandem lifters and stuff was covered under warranty. We replaced the water pump, it was covered under warranty. But the other, the nominal electrical issues and we put a fuel pump in it, that wasn't part of the warranty. So that would be another advantage, I guess, to trading in that, because there would be some of the balance of the factory warranty left on the drivetrain. But right now, that's not what's causing the majority of the issues, and it's, I mean, it's basically you just kind of use it on day shift as much as we can, because it's kind of hard to enforce somebody having a headlight out when we're driving around with one out ourselves.
I had some experience just like that, Adam, and I think you'll find out if you change the pigtail, your problem will go away.
Well,
I fought mine for about 3 years.
We did that at Marmy's. We had because it was the initial issue was covered under a recall, and we had Marmy's do that. But since they changed out that pigtail is when we've had to change out the entire. And if I remember right, the last time Fisher did it, the assembly they bought was the headlight, and it was the whole thing, the pigtail and everything. So I guess the only other thing we can do is take it back to them and have them dig a little deeper, farther back, and make sure it's not something in where it connects into the computer itself, or wherever.
Council Link?
I'd just take the armies, tell them to fix it. I mean, somebody's gonna have to fix it eventually, so I hate to go buy a vehicle just because of that.
Okay, we'll do that. See what we come up with.
You just have to dig a little bit deeper on that and see what happens, so.
That's all I got.
Any questions for Adam this evening? Fire Chief, Mike.
I don't have anything.
City Clerk's not here. Pam, do you have anything?
Yeah, I got a couple things. The year-end transfers. I have talked to the auditor today, and he said that you guys can go ahead and make a motion to allow the city clerk to do the year-end transfer now, and then, or you can wait until this year is over and then do it in January. Either way is fine, because we already budgeted that money, that transfers money, in with the 2017. So there's really, you can do it now, you can do it later. Either way is fine.
Just do it after the first of the year.
Just bring it first council meeting of the first of the year.
Do you have any numbers on what we're transferring?
The auditor has it, and he was supposed to give it to me before the day's end, but he didn't get back with me, so it's about waiting my email.
Yeah, let's just wait till after the first of the year.
Okay. And then the other thing that she wanted me to check with the auditor is that 1% sales tax. It can be used to pave 5th Street if you guys wanted to, but we gotta make sure that we have enough money to cover the expense of the grocery store, since we raised the money, raised the taxes for that particular reason. But you can be used for any improvement within the city. We just got to make sure that we have enough money for the grocery store first. And he did mention that if you don't want to pull money out of that, you can pull the money from like the special highway fund or general fund, capital improvement. All of that could be used if you guys are looking into improve the street. 5th Street.
There's 45,000 comes out of 1% sales tax right off the top for the grocery store.
50.
Is it 50?
Yeah.
50,000 per year.
Per year.
I think we're at 60 right now for this year.
Is that what we're in? And the balance of that can be used, but that 50,000 is earmarked.
Right.
But we don't pay until after that's up and going.
Right,
Right.
So really, we have that money to do whatever.
I talked to Mansell Construction just about, I know Carolyn spoke to us about it, it'd be like 450 foot of 5th Street from the highway, which, they were wanting to tie into the grocery store to make it more convenient. And I talked to Chris, because he's going to be doing the concrete out there anyway, and he gave me a rough figure. He thought 75,000 would put 7 inches of concrete with no guttering, no curbs, and tied into the grocery store, main drive-in. Of course, that's just a rough figure, but that's what he kind of thought, and I don't know what all that entails,
But you've got water lines, and you've got to put sewer in it, and you've got to see that sidewalk. You got to do something with that water line. You're going to have to put curb and gutters in. And then you've got a problem on the south side of the street, looks to me like, with a drainage problem. It's going to have to be dealt with at the same time that street elevation is brought in there. And then you've got your water lines and your sewer line and your lift station there. And if you're going to run concrete over a bunch of old lines, you're just asking for trouble.
right. I guess what I'm just getting at, we're going to have to do something there, and I think we need to get looking into it and figure out what we are going to do. What it's going to
I
take.
agree with you 100%. I think I made that comment quite a while back.
I think the ball's rolling on the grocery store, and we just need to figure out what we're going to do.
But I'd done a little guesstimation work, and it seems to me like I come up about $700,000. time it was all said and done. And that's not a good number, that's just, I done some figuring.
That's just that 400 feet?
Well, I think that was a block and a half, going down to the property line or a little past Hample.
Yeah.
But that was curb and gutter, and Jeff I worked with him a little bit on it, but that lift station, the lines, that sewer is, help me out here, Jeff, it's only like 2 foot deep out there.
The old sewer's about 2 foot deep where the lift station pumps into, yeah.
And so that's all gonna have to be redone. Is that not right, Jeff?
Yeah, it goes, what it serves now, it serves clear to Bob Ives's. The only thing that the lift station essentially pumps right now is a shortstop and from Kansas Dirt. In order to eliminate, say if you want to eliminate part of that old drain line and tie it into the new lift station, then you'd have to do Ives's sewer and Hample's sewer to get past that driveway, and then part of that old sewer line could be eliminated and you'd go into the new line. I think probably the biggest problem with the whole deal is the fact that all of that water drains clear from Prairie, and the only we don't estimate that there's over about 3 foot of drop from the highway clear back to Prairie, so it's a pretty fine line for drainage. There's quite a little bit of phone cable in there, gas line along the edge. Of course, we've got stuff in there. All of our stuff, with the exception of the old sewer, is fairly new, so we wouldn't have to replace a lot of the infrastructure that we have out there. We would have to raise manholes, valve boxes, that type of stuff, but the way that that's laid out, about the only way we could drain it, it'd have to all drain to the south side of the street. We don't want to come along the edge of what's going to be the new building or the parking area or any of that unless we enclosed it and put it completely underground. So without leaving that drainage open, then we're up to some probably pretty fine engineering in order to get the water drained out there. It's always been a problem, and we've had complaints over the years because we couldn't get it to drain quick enough. We got trucks in and out of Hamples all the time. We're constantly cleaning out the under that driveway where the culvert's too small, but we can't drop it down because we don't have much drainage. So it's kind of a circus trying to keep everything to go. And then, of course, when the road gets graded, the manholes are right on top. And then we pick up all the fine silt and that, and we're constantly cleaning the culvert out underneath there. So there's going to be some work to it, and we only have a 40-foot right-of-way out there, so we really have no place. If you go out and you drive out by there, the north fence at Hample Oil is basically the south right-of-way of the cities. And the flags, there's 3 big pink flags out there, and they're basically the north side, so it's fairly narrow. And of course, the guys, when they bring trucks in and out of Hamples, they turn pretty wide to get in there, and so that driveway's fairly wide, and we're constantly mashing the end of the culvert and that stuff. So I think there's going to have to be some engineering done in order to get rid of the water, because that's the only way the water can go. It has to go to the highway. There's no other place to take it. So that's basically it. I mean, and we have 2 sets of manholes basically. We have the old set from the old line plus the new stuff too. So.
Lisa, do you know if there's anything that would help us on something like that?
Well, Matt Messina said that in that phase 2 of St. Francis School, that there was another portion of it we could apply to help with that street. And I don't know if that'll be 80-20 or 50-50.
That goes along with it.
We can plan it with it. And I don't know if it's I don't think it's part of the Safe Routes to School. I think it's another program. I'll call and get.
Do some checking for us, please.
Any more discussion, Ron?
I just think we just need to get something going.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think
I'm not really sure my own opinion that 450 feet's enough. I mean, you're not helping any traffic there by doing that. The only thing you're doing is getting it back to the back of where their property is. But access, as far as down 5th Street, you know, you have to go clear back to Santa Fe.
I was gonna
Which
say, if
is-
you don't go clear back to the blacktop, you're not doing yourself any good.
And if you go back to Prairie, it's a quarter of a mile. It's a half a mile, excuse me, it's a half a mile from the highway to Prairie.
Where was we figuring, Jeff? Do you remember?
If we went, we'd have to go clear back to Prairie is what we thought.
Was
of
that
course-
Prairie we was talking about?
Yeah, we have the drainage off of Santa Fe, it all comes north and turns and goes east around the old VFW. And there's a crown, a pretty good crown coming back up to Prairie, so everything has to drain to the east. So, and there's no other way to get rid of the water, and if we want to do anything with the lift station, where the lift station sits to try and accommodate any kind of building out in that industrial zone out there, why there's going to have to be some major line done in there if you're going to cover all that. I think to be able to access it, or basically your lift station serving 2 people. So, if you're going to do any industrial back there at all, you're picking up, like I say, the shortstop, Kansas Dirt, and the grocery store, and that's basically where all your flow is going to come from. If it was 700 or 800 feet to the west, you could accommodate any kind of growth that would come in that industrial park up there. But where it sits right now, it's going to take I think it's going to take some planning to be able to get sewer back into it to make it. Otherwise, if you build very far back up into that industrial park, you're going to be, your sewer line is going to be way too low to hit anything out there in the street without hitting that. That wet well is just over 20 feet deep, so I mean, you have a lot of options when you can access that lift station, but without accessing it, then it kind of limits the amount of drainage that you have there. We don't have anything up in that area, if you build back very far, that we could hit the sewer without putting another lift station in, so. I think there's some major concerns to look at before you cover it.
Council, have any more discussion about it? You have anything else?
Yeah, the last thing on the list that she was wondering if you guys would like to move the meeting, the 16th meeting up to the 9th, so you guys can swear in the new councils and the mayor.
It's fine with me.
Everybody do it, too?
Just do one the second and the ninth. I don't. Whatever she wants to do, I guess.
She's not calling a special meeting, so it would be, I think you'd have to have a motion.
She's wanting to pay from the 16th to
To
the
the
9th.
ninth.
So you guys will have the council meeting that the Tuesday before, and then
Have one the second and then
Yeah.
turn around and have one the ninth.
You have to have a second, we've got a bunch of resolutions. Calls the street second.
I guess I don't know what the difference really is.
I don't. We decide that on the
I
second.
guess I'm confused.
Yeah.
What's a week gonna,
Yeah.
just get them in there sooner, you mean?
Hey, Ryan.
you can have the rest of the month off. And just get it done.
We'll decide that at the next meeting.
Maybe we should find out what she's got planned
Yeah.
for the second.
Yeah, we've still got the second
Yeah.
to discuss this, so makes no difference to me, but I'm kind of curious as to why she wants to move it up a week.
Vacation.
Vacation.
She's got some plans.
That's next year.
Actually, doesn't she? Doesn't she have tickets?
Maybe, maybe not.
I thought she had KU tickets.
Per statute, they take office on the second Monday. So the gray area is if you have to wait till the meeting, you don't have anybody in power. So you can swear in on the 8th Monday. You don't have to wait till the meeting.
You don't have to wait till the meeting.
She just comes in and just takes your driver's license, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you just do an oath and everything else, and then, so, I mean, that can all be done.
As of right now, I'd just keep it the same. I don't
Anything else, Pam? City Superintendent Jeff.
Couple of things. I think most of you probably noticed that we've been having some roof work done the last week. We had some, I don't know really how to explain it, whether it was leakage through the roof at the WIC Center, or whether, you know, what the occasion was, but we ended up with some tar on the skate rink floor in a few spots. Steve cleaned up what he could. I talked to the foreman out here today. He sent a couple of guys over to do some cleanup over there on some carpet spots and some of the floor stuff in there. Really, between us, we couldn't see a lot of places where it might have come through the ceiling. I think the complaints were heavier than what's already there, because council discussed the last couple of years, even back when Corey was still here, about the repairs that need to be done over there as far as the ceiling, the lighting, the carpet. I mean, it's, and I think all of you know it's in pretty tough shape. The building does need to be cleaned somehow or another. Steve has cleaned everything off of that floor that he can clean. We had a guy out here today, Jennifer's office, that we've talked to, that's going to give us an estimate on cleaning that stuff up. But you know, I addressed it with that guy, and he was more than willing to take care of, you know, the mess. But the floor is in pretty tough shape anyway, and I think everybody knows that it's due for a coating. But they were going to do what they could, but then we also discussed the carpets. Carpet's pretty rough, and I mean, it's pretty nasty. So we'll probably have an estimate next meeting for you on what it takes to get that cleaned up. But I think all the council in your spare time should poke your head in the door over there and look at the shape that the building's in. It's going to require some major undertaking at one time or another, you know, and I think probably sooner than later. The lighting is pretty tough, and the ceiling tile, we've got some sagging ceiling tile, and all in all, it needs some attention really bad. The northeast corner of the building, we reported to you. I think maybe even as early as when Corey was still here, that northeast corner needs either needs some carpentry work or something, because before we had that roof repaired, water came down that northeast corner of that wall, and it rotted some stuff out. And he'd even talked to a couple of guys, but nobody seemed to be very interested in repairing it, and so we never did get a cost for where that back door is. And so that's something that will probably come to you in the next few months on trying to address part of that. I guess the other thing, let me see what else I had for. I got an email the other day from the state on a pickup that they have for sale. When we bought that bucket truck a few years back, we did a little shuffling around, and the police department ended up with the 2001 that Adams wanted to do something with, and at that time we were going to try and do some shuffling around so we could replace a pickup in the shop. And our old gray Dodge pickup it's had two front ends. The transmission's going out of it, and it's got about 90,000 miles on it. But we wanted to kind of look at replacing that pickup, and the state has a 2009 Dodge that has a utility bed on it, has just over 40,000 miles on it for sale, and there's 5 other guys looking at it. But the price on it is
23,000, and I've got some pictures of it that you can kind of look at and pass around. It's got 2 small tears in the seat, but we're starting to get pretty short on vehicles. That old Dodge is about down, and we're down to just, well, the old 93 pickup that we use for a patching truck and that white Chevrolet. So we kind of need to look at doing something about replacing something in the shop. So, and later on, we'd like to replace that old 93 and put it back to just a patching truck soon. So we kind of need to look at doing something. Part of the deal was that we were going to end up with a pickup out of that trade, and it never did happen. So this truck is for sale, or we can find something. Used 3/4 ton pickups are pretty rare, and with low miles on them, they're even more rare. But we'd like to see about replacing that Dodge with something, and then probably just putting it on Purple Wave or something like that. But we don't take it out of town any at all for parts or otherwise. We leave that old pickup here in town. So anyway. Other than that, that's basically all I've got.
Council, got any discussion on this pickup?
Money could either come out of equipment reserve or part of that 1-cent sales tax, I think, because I don't think we're obligated to put any money on the grocery store until after the grocery store is built. So, and it was to be used for infrastructure too, so, you know, we could pay part of it out of it, part of it out of equipment reserve. There's over 140,000 in equipment reserve. But
So you're wanting to trade off the silver Dodge?
I want to just sell it outright. We don't want to trade it off. It's not worth trading off. We just put it up on Purple Wave or something, you know. I mean, get what we can out of it.
What year is that, Dodge?
It's a 2001, I think, isn't it? Is that right? I think it's 16 years old. And it's served us well, but it's, you know, our pickups get used quite a bit more than, you know, 90,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're in and out of them all day long and stopping and starting and braking, turning, you know, that kind of stuff, why it takes a lot of maintenance to keep them up. The doors get to creaking and squeaking, and I mean, it's pretty tough on them to get in and out of them and start them 15, 20, 30 times a day, and we do a lot of days. So they don't seem to last like the highway pickup would.
Jeff, you made a comment about taking it out at 1%. I think the council really should think about that. I wouldn't do that.
Well, that's your choice. I mean, I think when it was originally enacted, it was for infrastructure, and then the grocery store came along later, so I just threw it out as an option.
Yeah.
So, but there is money, and there's over 140,000 in equipment reserve, and it's about half the price of a new one. Probably get just as much use out of it, you know. We don't need new pickups. We just need something that's reliable. That's all we need. But a service bin on it would be a definite plus. I mean, the tools that we carry and stuff, we broke the beds down. In fact, that Dodge pickup, that silver Dodge that we got now, the bed's cracked in it on both sides pretty hard because of the weight of the tools in the toolboxes. So. And it might be sold. Might be sold in the morning even if you chose to buy it tonight. There's 4 guys looking at it right now. I was the 5th one. And he told me, he said, it's just whoever comes first. So whoever meets first and deciding it might be sold by now. I haven't talked to Juan. I talked to him last week and it wasn't sold as of then, but it might be gone now. But that's the way they do that, is you put your name on it, and if you can get it bought, why, first guy to the bus gets a ride. So.
Have you looked for anything else, Jeff?
I've talked to Jim a half a dozen times, and there's just no 3/4 tons out there at all. Anything with less than 150, 60, 70,000 miles on them. And that one's in really good condition. I mean, it has 2 little tears in the seat, both of them back, well, one where it hinges and one in the corner that probably got a screwdriver or something. But other than that, the interior's in really good shape on it too. But 3/4 tons, unless you go to buy a new one, are just really hard to come by. And I just really didn't see spending the money to buy a brand new truck, because we'll wear it out in half the time anybody else does. I mean, the last new pickup we bought was that 2007 Chevrolet. It's got 47, 48,000 on it now, I think. So, but the red pickup I drive's got over 100, but it was used when we bought it too. So.
Is that a gas or a diesel?
It's a gas. It's got a Hemi in it, just like my red pickup does.
You know what a new truck costs?
I called Jansen Ford in Larned in the last that we were, and we never did even really make a deal, but one without a bed on it was right at 40 for just a basic 3/4 ton work type truck with.
That's just cabin chassis?
Yeah, we were going to put a service bed on it. Service bed's another $6,500 or about that.
I think you can buy a 1-ton Chevrolet cheaper than that.
Either way, we'd still, by the time we put a bed on it, we'd have 40,000 in it. I think pretty easy.
Yeah.
You know. So you're going back, you know, basically 9 years, but you're doing it for half the price. And it looks to me, the pictures that I got off of there and from what I got from Juan, it doesn't look like that pickup's been used very hard, so.
Just wondering if it'd be better off to look at a new pickup rather than a 8-year-old pickup and do this in another 4 years when it's beat up and worn out.
Yeah, you know, we take pretty good care of our trucks, and we try to make them last. You know, I mean, the oldest one we've got is over 20 years old now. But
With that municipality discount, I think you can probably buy a pickup quite a bit cheaper.
okay, well, I'd be glad to look. I mean, that was an option. It's the only one that's come up in the last year as far as the 3/4 ton.
The police pickup was $24,000.
Yeah.
And what year is that, Adam?
13.
13. Was that not right, 24?
Yeah, it was somewhere around there. Of course, that's only a half ton. I don't know what the difference
Right.
between half and quarter is.
Have you had the transmission looked at in a silver pickup, Jeff, or it just?
Mel pulled the filter on it a while back, and it didn't have any metal in it. We just serviced it and that, but he's been doing mechanic work a long time, and after we changed it, it just doesn't seem to, and it was slipping before. You know, we haven't taken it out of town because we really don't think it's roadworthy. I mean, it's just kind of a truck we just leave in town only. And I think part of that's probably due to the fact that we don't, you know, we drive low speeds a lot of times. Transmission shifts in and out 2 or 3 gears, and you know, the overdrive in these transmissions is a whole lot different than before they used them. And some of the vehicles, you know, the Chevrolets and some of those, you can shut the overdrive off, but now this Dodge, you can't do that. So, but you know, I felt the same way. I just thought it was an option that I should bring to you because it was available, but probably for the money, we might be better off to look at something new.
I'd like to see the option of a new vehicle.
Okay.
What it costs.
I'll do some asking around and try and get some. I've been working with a gal over at Larned a little bit, and we got busy, and I hadn't called her back, but I'll try and put some stuff together and get it to you in the next council meeting or two.
What kind of bed are you thinking, Jeff?
Just a service type bed, kind of like the one that Ryan's work pickup's got on it. You know, something we can put our tools in. I mean, getting in these pickups, I can't even see in the toolbox in them. Unless you're Marshall's height, you about got to have a step stool to look down in them anymore. They set so high, you know. And we carry a lot of pipe wrenches and stuff like that, and there's quite a bit of weight there. And, you know, a heavier truck, I mean, even if we did go to a 1-ton truck, a single wheel 1-ton truck or something like that, one, I think would probably, half tons just don't do it. I mean, my pickup's loaded pretty heavy but I can't hardly look down the toolbox of it.
I think you'll find out a new service bed's gonna be pretty pricey.
Oh, they are, but I think it depends on what you pick too. But you have to remember, it can go on 1 or 2 or 3 trucks after that too.
That's good.
So, and I've been trying to find a used one. I mean, I've got Bruce looking for a used one, and I've called a couple other guys that kind of deal in them, and if something comes along and we can buy one used, why, we can save a lot of money. So, we just don't find that flatbeds and rolling toolboxes work very good for us. They just don't. You can't protect your tools. I mean, that kind of stuff. It's sliding all over. I mean, we just don't think that it works very good. And cross boxes, like I say, the beds are so high you can't hardly see down in them. So, but I'll be glad to do that. I really will, and get something back to you in the next couple meetings and look at that option. So, that's all I've got, folks. Thank you.
Council got anything for Jeff? City Attorney, John.
I don't have anything.
Old business. Ordinance for the meter deposit.
So, did you guys get a copy in your package? So,
The way we structured that was break it down between the utility, but then there's a provision in that on applying the current deposit. So that you're getting rid of all your current deposits. And I think city staff will just have to keep track of when those were applied. So I think Jim was finding out from some other cities that people are coming in when they were moving out years down the road expecting their deposit back because they didn't know it was applied to their bills.
And that's over a year period, that I read.
I just put it in there that if the city has held the deposit for more than 12 months, it'll just be applied to the next bill until the deposit's gone. And then I put in there, if it's less than 12 months, that you would wait until the 12-month anniversary to apply it. So somebody had just put a deposit down last month, wouldn't get their deposit back.
And that's just to someone first time getting city services, is that correct?
right, and we kept the option of letter of credit. If you have good credit from who's in town, you can bring that in and you won't have to pay. It's $250.
Yeah, okay.
The other thing is, you guys had ordinances for new construction, right, Pam? There was something, we eliminated, Jamie says that when used, so we eliminated the ordinance for fees related to new construction, new residential construction, and just put it all, kind of lumped it all together, so you're not, they were just redundant ordinances. And so that's why it's repealing 1506 and 1507.
I don't think that's an outrageous amount.
I think
They
it's
don't
cheaper
have
than
it.
some of the houses that, if they'd done it the old way, where you pay $600 for
Yeah.
a deposit, so I'm fine with it.
Good chances are if they don't have a referral, then they may not pay their bill.
I'm okay with this.
I'd make a motion to approve ordinance number 1047-17.
Got a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 4-0. Personnel policy. Personnel policy. I think everybody's got a copy of that in the packet so far.
these your notes on the side? Is that?
Yeah. I think there's some miscommunication between her and I. She wanted me to look at it, and I went ahead and looked at it and edited everything. I think she wanted you guys to review it before I did that, so we jumped ahead a step. But I think now, the last discussion her and I had was that you give it to the department heads, and I don't know if she did that to you guys.
Yeah, I got it the other day. I haven't had a chance to read it.
To look at and basically review for a week or so. But I think she wanted you to have some time to look at it and decide whether there were any additions that you wanted to make.
So are your comments or suggestions included in these?
Mine are, it's all the blue. Hers were the highlighted yellow.
Right, but the blue stuff over here in the box is what your suggestion we add in.
Well,
Some of them are just questions for her to go back to the HR person and ask for better definitions and stuff like that. Like for instance, I made changes to the sexual harassment policy and then added some other stuff. But the underlying stuff is all my new additions. I just thought keeping with the times, we better address it.
I don't know. Adam, have you had a chance to look over it?
I haven't received a copy of it.
I would say leave it on the agenda and let them have a chance to look at it before we, and make sure that there's no other changes that need to be made. I guess if anybody else has changes, we can talk about them, but
Man, we talked about so many things over time. I feel like something's being forgotten that needs to be added to it. You know, for instance, when we were talking about the time clocks,
right.
Whether you guys had any specific rules about setting a process and procedure about clocking in, keeps track of time slips and stuff like that.
We did have one time.
Leave it on the agenda under old business. So that a chance for department heads to take a look at this and review it, give their any recommendations that they might see on that.
I'm fine with that.
Good. Good with it. Okay, moving on, new business, open burn. Mike?
I don't have any idea.
So we still in an open burn since like last ice storm. We never closed it because we open it for people to, you know, take the burn lint and stuff like that, clean up their yard, but we haven't. We just kept it open till now.
The reason we did that was because everybody was calling me on a Saturday wanting to burn, and we had, the council had made a consensus that we just leave it open. For the $5 that they were collecting, it wasn't a big deal just to let people burn as long as they followed the proper procedures. Because people were calling me wanting to burn on Saturday, but no way to get a burn permit. So, and then some people go on Friday and get a burn permit for Saturday. The weather turned bad, and then no way to burn, and then they'd have to go get another burn permit. It was just a pain. So it was just the consensus that we let people burn when they want to burn.
It is pretty dry right now, Mike.
Yeah, but there's no burn ban in the county.
They still have to call in the courthouse.
Yeah, everybody stuff
Or the
calling the
dispatch.
courthouse. follow state laws. I mean, you can't burn over a certain mile an hour wind and stuff like that, so.
So your recommendation is just leave it open?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Cause I get 15 phone calls on a weekend if you know.
So we can take that off of new business. Combine golf cart, ATV ordinances.
So right now, the golf carts are, like, you renew it yearly, $25 beginning of each year. But the ATV, you pay $50 and it's good until you, like, you know, you get rid of the vehicle and then the new person come in and have to get a new permit. So what I think what she's trying to get at is that, can we make these two the same, to where, like, you can make the golf cart, you know, the same as ATV and just pay one-time fee and be done with it, or make the ATV like a golf cart and you renew it yearly. Because most of our permits are annually.
You know if there's a reason for that, Adam?
I don't, but I think probably because they were passed at different times. You know, the ATV also falls under the worksite utility vehicles, so back when those little mini trucks and stuff were really hot and everybody was getting them because they thought it would save them some kind of money. For us, I would suggest just having it all done yearly, because it's beneficial for us to have the sticker on them so we know when we see them on the street whether or not they've got a permit or not. You know, and the reason we did that with the golf carts was to keep that in line with, you know, you register your vehicle every year. And, you know, if you're going to operate something on city streets, I think it makes sense that it needs to be registered and able to be operated on the street safely and every year. Yeah, that's the big thing, you know. More than not, if they're going to be required to keep it registered, they're going to maintain their insurance and stuff like that. So.
Do you have the insurance to operate the golf cart?
Yes, you do.
Somebody else would be,
That's what mine is.
also gotta be licensed to drive, don't you?
I would say just leave it to the $25 and just make them all the same yearly.
So you want to do $25 for
I'd do, yeah.
ATV?
I'd do 25 across the board on any of them.
Just make it a yearly thing with both, just combine. See a problem with that, like I said, the insurance, I mean, that makes sure you keep insurance.
Just have a question about it.
Costs you $50 a year.
What are you going to do with the people that's already got them? Are they grandfathered in, or?
That's a good question for that man.
You give them a lifetime pass to use it, I guess.
For the life of that vehicle while you own it?
They bought it.
I guess that's how it is, how it was when they done it, so I don't know. How many of them are there? Any ideas, Adam?
I don't, they're a handful.
A handful.
I don't really think there's a whole lot.
Nobody's gonna buy an ATV now.
Unless you're using it for a fun deal, you might be better off just to do the one-time deal.
Well, I don't know how much paperwork it is. Is it worth doing it for $25?
No, I mean, it's just a piece of paper.
It's all on the street.
Makes no difference to me. I don't care. I mean, if we just want to do it.
Makes me any difference either. I was just wanting to be clarified on it.
You couldn't take that away from the people they've already paid for it.
Right. So let's just make them all $50 one-time fee.
Yeah, I guess I kind of agree with Adam, is you have to prove that you have insurance if you're going to be on the street.
Get a card.
All they gotta do is
just
pull
like
them
a card.
over,
Get a
check
card.
Don't the city get notified if
Well,
they
we-
cancel it?
We
No.
can't pull them over just to check their insurance. We have to have a violation to make a traffic stop. We can't do it just to see.
But then how do you know the ATVs have insurance?
Well, you don't. That's what I'm saying. But we don't know if.
I know, but what I'm saying is, you know, the golf carts do.
No,
Like
we don't.
one yearly.
Well, yeah, we
You
do.
do, you do when you register, but what if you let it go 30 days later?
Yeah,
Right.
I say the same thing with a car. You don't
It's
know
like a
what's going
car.
on.
$50 one time.
I don't know, they have a wreck, it's their own fault. They're the ones responsible for it.
I agree. I'm just thinking about the liability, you know, on the streets.
I mean, it's no different than if you don't have insurance on your vehicle. I mean, I don't.
But you tag your vehicle and you just check your safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether you have insurance. I'm sure they skate through that. Somebody's two trees up there.
Buy a policy for a day. I don't know what the best solution is. I mean, you have a handful of people that already have them and don't ever have to prove that they have insurance on it. So.
Yeah, that'll disappear over time too, because they get rid of their ATVs or stuff.
Right.
You just have to remember whether they've got an annual or lifetime pass.
Or then just leave it at 25 for all of them, and just, I guess, the people that already paid for the 50 for the lifetime get to keep it.
You lucky dog.
25 for all of them annually.
I just didn't want to be out of
yearly.
ordinance.
Just do it yearly, and the people that already have paid the 50 for.
I try to be a law-abiding citizen.
People colored in, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care.
I mean, I can look at it, I suppose, I suppose you can make them come back in and register the ATVs again. I mean, at some point you had to start registering cars. People don't have prior registration.
They may not be very happy about that.
Is the ATVs qualified with the worksite vehicles?
UTV.
Same deal.
But, and, I mean, do we really have that many problems with them?
No. No, it's, my thoughts are, if it's operated on the street, every vehicle operated on the street should fall under the same guidelines, you know. I mean, it's for enforcement and just like Scott said, just so people know, so there's no, the water isn't muddy as to whether or not, well,
right.
I talked to this guy and he said he got a lifetime, and so I figured I was good too. I mean, it's, no, we don't have issues with them, you know, with the exception of having to get onto a parent or grandparent once in a while because they thought it was a good idea to let their 3-year-old drive it. I mean, you know, you have that once in a while.
It happens.
But yeah, I mean, as far as, you know, violations or accidents or anything like that, no, it's really a non-issue.
I make a motion that we go $50 one time.
On all of them?
Yep.
Well, we'll probably need to draft.
Yeah, we have to figure that out. It's
We'll still have to combine the two ordinances, so. But yeah, we can do that as well.
You want to instruct John to look into it and draw up an ordinance for that, or?
Yeah. I don't care. It makes no difference one way or the other.
It makes me no difference.
Sorry. Sorry for the question. Just wanted to clarify.
I'm not looking at it as it's a huge money maker.
No.
Whatever is easiest and simplest.
What do we got, maybe 10 in town? Golf carts?
Well, the golf cart, we got about 20 at the most. I mean, I'll have to look, but
That's $500 a year.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
No.
Whatever's easiest, it makes no difference to me.
Any more on golf carts? Okay, in your packet, there's a letter of resignation here from Mary Reagan. Anybody have a chance to read that?
I make a motion that we accept his resignation.
Second.
We got a motion on the table to accept his resignation, and we got a second. Any more discussion? All opposed? All for? Do we need to try to find somebody to replace this, or what?
Jeff, what do you guys think?
No, we're doing fine, thank you.
Streets and parks are okay, you guys are handling them?
Yeah.
Dave is planting 2 new trees.
Yeah, we're doing fine. Dave does a really good job.
I mean, I guess if there was someone that offered to help do some of the stuff you've done, I would have turned them away, but.
Do you need one for that little tree designation?
I don't know.
That needs to go away.
If we were looking for anything, we'd like to have some volunteer help in the square. you know, come spring. I mean, that's some of the stuff that Barry did, and he helped with the 4-H stuff, you know, getting kids together for getting the bushes trimmed back, getting them mulched and that stuff. But I mean, we do all of it anyway. We have to have somebody here to haul it in, so it doesn't take 5 minutes longer to dump it. But, you know, I think there's going to be some times where 4-H is going to want to help, and it's not a big deal. Dave can coordinate with them, and we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. It's not a big deal.
That completes any business, then, council? We don't have any on the schedules, or any executive sessions?
Nope.
I'd entertain a motion to get out of here.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion to second to adjourn, all in favor? All
I
opposed?
think we figured on that.
3-1, Marshall don't want to leave.